Tookie wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. Me reading this book. Hey everybody, it's Legend Wings back with my friend Kaylee, and today we're bringing back Modelland. The good book. So it's been a couple weeks since we looked at this book, and by a couple I mean an indiscriminate amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been we recorded a lot in advance so we could take time and edit, and then we skipped a lot of weeks and didn't record.
Yeah.
So getting back into this is going to be a lot of fun.
It might be hard to remember what went on just because it's been so long.
Right. We were talking a little bit earlier, something about girls' faces were falling off and they were hands grabbing.
Yeah.
Oh, and the zipper walls. What were they called?
Oh, zipper walls? I don't
They
know.
were zip zorbs or something
Yeah,
like that.
the zip zaps, no.
Something stupid like that.
And then there was the hand face person.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't remember their name, but applause. It was something applause.
A guru.
Guru.
Because the gurus were on this council.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
the
and
council
something about C tilde L's in a cage, and
it
was weird.
C tilde L got ripped away from everyone or something, abducted,
and, thrown
I
in
don't
a
know.
cage and made fun of, and
Yeah,
got inducted into the song.
They sang like a 7-verse song in which 3 of those verses were about CL, like,
Yep.
and how awful she apparently is to this community, so.
Probably not the way she wanted to be remembered, but
not quite.
poor C tilde L. I think they're still within, like, the trials for Modelland. Is this Thigh High Boot Camp that they're in right now?
Yeah.
Which is a lot different than I expected, although I don't know what I actually expected
Didn't they show up at a runway? They have to walk a runway now.
Yes, they do, don't they? I guess we'll find out.
Alright.
Without further ado, Chapter 18, La Lumiere. Tookie's eyes were shut tight. A stiff breeze made her face tingle. It smelled familiar, sort of like tangerines? No, blood oranges. Tookie opened her eyes. She was wearing exactly what all the girls in the O Plaza had on, except it was two-tone green. Her head felt groggy. I don't remember how I got into these clothes. Where are Piper and Shiraz and Dylan? Am I sleepwalking? Was Thigh High Boot Camp just a nightmare? Or, oh no, am I still in boot camp? Wow, she's just as confused as we are.
I don't blame her, quite honestly.
Way off in the distance, the M building stood proud and tall. That's interesting. Usually they say tall and proud, so this switches it up a little.
Well, thanks for being creative, Tyra.
In front of her was a mismatch of cube-like houses, connected by slivers of jade and turquoise opaque stones. Huge faces carved into hedges decorated the grounds. Vines and flowers made up the faces' eyes and hair. One of the flower eyes opened and stared straight at her. Admiring the D, are you? A voice asked.
What? What?
That is exactly what it says.
What? Hang on. I know I have a dirty mind, but
Friend, what were you thinking?
I'm just thinking, this is a really weird world, and I wouldn't have been that surprised.
I don't think they explain what they just said, either. I don't think they do. Let's see. Admiring the D, are you? A voice asked. Tookie spun around. Zen Zen scooped her into a huge bear hug. Then, over Zen Zen's shoulder, Tookie saw Shiraz, Dylan, and Piper walking towards her in slow motion, all wearing the same outfit she was. They're walking in slow-mo. It is a dream. Wake up, Tookie. I'm picturing like the beach scene with all the lifeguards running. More girls appeared behind them. Kamalini, Desperada, and Chaste and Zizi. Yuck, no, it's definitely a nightmare. You made it, girl, Dylan cried, running toward Tookie. Shiraz and Piper barreled toward her too, and the girls crashed together into a sloppy, love-filled reunion hug. Then Tookie looked at Zizi. Is Thigh High Boot Camp really over? Tookie asked. Zen Zen nodded. Oh, she's not talking to Zizi. It is Zen Zen.
That's so confusing.
They still don't explain. Okay, we didn't skip a chapter, did we?
No. We read 16 and 17. Yeah, I remember that this way home vertically was... Okay. I'm like, wow, the printers must be really happy about that.
I thought they were supposed to be going into a fashion show. Weren't they, like, stuffed into these weird, like, bubble things and then, like, shoved through the door that said this way home?
And then they woke up here.
Then Tookie looked at Zen Zen. Is thigh-high boot camp really over? Tookie asked. Zen Zen nodded, and the girls erupted into hugs and applause. But there is no fashion show, Piper stated, interrupting their celebration. Guru Gennaro stated, rather demonically, that the whole THBC process would culminate in one big fashion extravaganza. You mean you didn't do the fashion show ending? Zen Zen frowned. She looked worried. The Belladonna is going to be so upset. Gennaro has been excluding the fashion show part of boot camp for the past 2 years.
Oh.
Word is, he doesn't want any fashion shows happening before the new Bellas get their walking lessons from him. It's like he wants to take full credit for any walks. She rolled her eyes. I'm really sorry you had to experience such hell without getting a payoff of heaven.
That's the tagline for this book.
Oh my gosh, it gets better. But you made it. I hope your time here is worth the agony you just experienced.
We had to make note to self, revisit this quote the last episode as we play our triumphant music in the background.
And remember, in Tyra's words.
As Tyra said. It wasn't worth it in the end, but hey, you did it.
Oh, it was nothing. My hairdresser's personal trainer's manicurist's nephew has a friend who went through it before, so I already knew everything that was going to happen, Zizi said smugly. Dylan rolled her eyes. So how many made it? Kamalini asked. 54, Zen Zen said. Shiraz cocked her head. Those who no make it, where they go? They're gone. Forever. Never to return. Tookie and her friends looked at each other with wide eyes. If they'd buckled under the test, they would have been gone too. Then Zen Zen turned and faced the bizarre building. So guys, this is the D. Come, I'll get you settled. Dylan planted her feet. Honey child, I've just been invaded by bacteria, sliced and diced by earrings, stabbed by a monster needle, and had my head imprisoned inside a bubble. I'm not going in there until I know what that whacked out place is.
Fair.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. Zen Zen stepped up onto the porch. It's where you're going to be living while you're here. I wonder if it just means the dorms.
Why would you call it the D?
She motioned for the surviving 6 members of her original dozen to follow her into the D. Sun streamed through high windows into a vast living room with couches, tables, and pillows. It was decorated in a blend of styles. Gothic, mid-century modern, Art Deco with a hint of laboratory in some strange way.
Yeah.
They also hesitate in the book. It even has the ellipsis. So they're just as confused.
Tyra's
no idea. Just as confused at her own writing.
She's looking around her own mansion and going, so this is Art Deco, this is this other art style, and this is... It has nothing to it, so it's a laboratory?
The place smelled, as most places in Modelland seem to, of blood oranges. Modelland is now your home, Zen Zen trilled, beaming with pride. This is the uncommon room where you'll all hang out. I get it, Tookie announced. The D stands for dorms. Hey! Exactly, Zen Zen said. 6 stoic-looking, youngish mannequins entered the room and stood next to Zen Zen, holding stacks of what looked like stiff scarves draped over one arm. I forgot that the weird, like, living mannequin, like, failure dropouts are there. I kind of forgot about those guys.
I completely forgot about them, too.
Centuras, Zizi yelped. I'd know that shade of yellow anywhere. Same color as the dress you wore here, added Chaste. What a coincidence. Zizi's right. These are Centuras. Centuras? I don't know. I don't think we ever decided. The Centuras are very, very special. The more you wear them, The stronger your powers become. It's spelled sort of like that. It's pow powers.
I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed.
The centuras are very, very special. The more you wear them, the stronger your pow powers become.
Oh.
Zen Zen accented the pows with a pointed finger like she was shooting a pistol.
Thanks, Zen Zen.
The mannequins tossed the stacks of centuras into the air. Miraculously, the strips of fabric circled around the girls in a brilliant air show. Some flew in formation. Others did solo kamikazes into the crowd. The girls oohed and awed at the performance, which ended with each centura nosediving into the group, finding its recipient and wrapping itself 2 times around the girl's waist. Whap! One wrapped around Zizi. Zing! One circled Shiraz. And finally, a centura even cinched Tookie's waist. She stared at it, barely believing her eyes. Is this really mine? Listen up, girls. Keep tabs on these magic golden cummerbunds.
Cummerbund, like when you wear like a tuxedo, I think
I didn't
like
realize
right
that's how
here.
it's spelled.
The guys always wear them in band, but I never really understood the point of them.
I guess I've never actually taken note of what one is, what it looks like, what it does,
So are these
and how
things
it's
just
spelled.
wrapped around them twice, kind of like a belt and tied at the side?
I think it's like an obi. I think that's how it's wrapped around. It's wrapped around their midsection.
Okay.
Just this weird scarf. Listen up, girls. Keep tabs on these magic golden cummerbunds, Zanzan said. You might have innate powers, but this is the only thing that can make the Bella magic happen. She shook her head. You all should see some of my photo shoots when I don't have this darn thing on. Pitiful. The girls gingerly touched their centuras. Tookie held the end of hers like they were the wings of a wounded bird. Zizi and Chase scooted to a mirror at the far side of the space to admire themselves. Tookie could see them yanking their centuras tightly and trying to find the most flattering spots on their hips for the sashes to rest. Zen clapped. Okay, girls, go up to the 2nd level and look for your names. The girls climbed the long suspended staircase that only had steps. No risers, no banister. And it floated in midair, down a long, wide hallway with immense fabric flowers and plants growing out of the artwork, were a series of bedroom doors. Slowly, the names of the girls who would occupy each room appeared on the door graffiti style, as though an invisible hand was doing the writing. Everyone ran to look for their names. Piper, you're here, Tookie called, pointing to a door to her right and then waiting at the door for it to write the next name. Dylan, you're with her. Tookie, you're here. Shiraz beckoned Tookie from down the hall, and Kamal. Kamalini, that is me. Kamalini scooted to the entrance of the room. Darn, I'm disappointed she doesn't have to room with Zizi.
That would have created great conflict.
Yep.
Great character development, I'm sure, but we don't want that. We want to introduce more characters that you have to try to keep track of.
This is good for Tookie, but
to keep track of even more characters.
Yep.
Too many women.
Yep. Lots.
Brian and her dad have been 2 of the only male characters, except for the one dude that's androgynous.
Oh, Gurganero.
Yep.
Well, don't forget they also have the army of the other male model
but they're not,
servants or whatever they call them.
They're not characters though.
According to the book, they're what were they? They're accessories, which just rubs me the wrong way that's how they refer to people.
I just would like a male character that's not hopefully there's a genuine good character in our future that's a guy.
Well, we had one. It's what's-his-face, the one that Tookie likes. But he's gone.
Yeah, whatever his
for
name
now.
is.
My bet is that he'll show back up somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but...
I don't know.
Next one is... Shiraz peered closely at the door. Her lips spread into a smile. Shiraz! Tookie and Shiraz ran through the purple door and gasped. The room was a large, bright square lit by floor-to-ceiling windows, but there was nothing in the room save for 4 square burlap bags on the floor. Kamalini clutched her headbanger. We have to sleep on the floor? I guess we can make do. Shiraz walked toward a window, but suddenly there was a loud clunk and she stopped short, as though she'd knocked into something. She lost her footing and fell forward. Instead of crashing to the floor, she stopped as something invisible broke her fall. Huh, Tookie whispered. She scuttled over to Shiraz to see what was there. It seemed like a cushion of air was now suspending Shiraz 3 feet above the floor. Shiraz grinned. It's soft. Feels like a bed, Tookie finished. The outline of a bed materialized before their eyes. A cushy white comforter and floor fluffy pillows rested atop the mattress. It's fancy. Way better than candelabra cot, Shiraz joyfully exclaimed, looking at the bed forming around her. Then the sound of a pencil scratching against paper filled the room. Black lines traversed the white comforter, slowly forming a picture. Shiraz jumped off the bed to give it a closer look. In no time, the lines formed a large eye, then a nose, then another eye, and a pair of full lips, and finally an abstract scribble made luxurious black hair flow from the head. When miniature dots began to cover the face, Shiraz gasped, "It's me!"
You know what I'm just picturing right now? Is the doodle from SpongeBob. She's like, it's me, and it's kind of like
So
her.
it's a doodle Shiraz.
But it's a doodle Shiraz, and it's just staring.
Wait, so if she's Shiraz, does that make it doodle?
It's a doodle, and it's like.
That's kind of how she sounds.
Yep.
Tookie and Kamalini looked at each other excitedly. Where's my bed? They said at the exact same time. Wait. Are they all rooming together, or is it just the two of them? Hold on. Okay, I think they're all rooming together.
Plus 1 extra. So
do you think it's 4?
So we can have a character we can kill off or get rid of at some point and have it not be part of the main group.
It's probably...
Mark my words, the first one of them to leave is Kamalini.
Tookie and Kamalini looked at each other excitedly. Where's my bed? They said at the exact same time. Jinx, Kamalini teased, bumping Tookie's hip. Tookie smiled so hard her cheeks hurt. No one had ever jinxed her before. Tookie walked to the left of Shiraz's bed. Kamalini strode right. At almost the same time, their knees bumped into an invisible bedpost. They both allowed themselves to fall forward. Delicious, Kamalini exclaimed. Like falling onto a cloud of whipped cream, Tookie said. Sure enough, outlines of 2 beds quickly formed. Moments later, the pencil scratching noise rang out. A drawing of Tookie appeared on the white comforter. The likeness was a bit goofier than she looked in real life, her mouth exaggeratedly big, her ears sticking out 20 degrees more than they truly did, but the comforter did draw one of Tookie's eyes darker than the other. For a brief moment, Tookie took in the eyes of the girls in the room and longed for a set of matching irises. They have, like, if she really wanted to, they could give her the colored contacts. She's been chosen, like, for her unique looks. You might as well rock it. I mean, how cool would it be to have 2 different colored eyes?
I just hate that they bring it up every 3 seconds. Oh, you have different colored eyes. It means you're ugly. What?
It might make you look different. It doesn't make you look ugly or anything.
But it doesn't mean you're ugly. I just don't like the way that's presented. Like,
so, and like, I think, like, I'm hoping eventually as the book goes on, like, that view starts to become reversed as Tookie gets more comfortable with herself, as, like, she hopefully, like, blossoms into, like, a beautiful young woman.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And not that she gets a makeover and becomes a beautiful young woman and just is,
Kamalini's comforter now depicted a caricature of her, too, but Kamalini seemed almost saddened by the image, touching her headbanger and sinking to the mattress. Don't you like it? Tookie asked, peering at her. Well, Kamalini shook her head. I love it, really. It is just... I am nervous about being here. I didn't really try as hard as all the girls from my country did. I was showering, and this thing, she pointed to her smize, just popped out. So here I am. You don't think you deserve to be here? Tookie could hardly believe Kamalini was saying such a thing. With her big, soulful eyes and her flawless brown skin, she was one of the most beautiful girls here. Kamalini shrugged. My parents were so happy, though. But they're worried about my addiction to... The drugs? Shiraz jumped in. No, not drugs, Kamalini said. The whiskey? Shiraz guessed again. I no judge you. I just want to help. No, not alcohol either. Worse. This. She held up her headbanger. They didn't want me to bring it. I smuggled it in. Shiraz squinted. You addicted it to the music? Kamalini nodded. My father made it for me. He is dean of my country's most prestigious university and an inventor. My mother is a chakra wood actress and director, a rarity. I started using it after something happened. She lowered her eyes. It eases the pain, helps me forget. It's hard for me to be without it. I get withdrawal symptoms. She sighed. The girls at school say that I think I'm the most beautiful girl in chakra, and that my parents purchased smize on the black market. But it's the farthest thing from the truth. Can I listen? Tookie asked hesitantly, almost certain Kamalini would say no. She just said that she can't bear to be without this.
Right.
She's like, can I have it? It's
Yeah.
like, no!
No.
I mean, I think she's about to give it to her, but
share anyway.
But like, I don't like trust handing my phone to a stranger I just met.
Yeah. Here, take my headphones that I adore and need to survive.
Tookie felt a rush as the music hit her brainwaves. The most crystal clear, jangling tune was Sitar's high-pitched singer, a tabla drum, and a Now I know what a sitar is. You know what a singer is. I don't know about what is a tabla drum.
I'm guessing
Maybe?
like a giant.
Okay. I don't know what this is. Chennai flute?
If I had to guess, based sitar country is chakra.
Oh, maybe
This
they're
is,
like
it's
Indian
supposed to be like
instruments?
Indian instrument. The flute, I'm imagining a deeper sounding wood flute.
Okay. So that's a nice like hint then. This is exactly what you need instead of like trying to describe everyone.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. Like this is cool where maybe you can guess. And like you get more of like a feel for the character without just being like, oh look, they have like black hair and blue eyes.
But at the same time, like, I wouldn't have had Kamalini just be like, well, except for the incident. You could have had her just
sorry,
hesitate.
I'm not necessarily that. It's not what I'm talking about, but like
Right.
some of her interests and what she listens to, and you're getting like clues to
Right.
like her life, her culture, where she's from.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
I'm just saying she was
But-
doing so well at the second half here that if she had cleaned up that first half, we might have had a solid page.
So I was actually wondering if maybe she was deaf. And if this was like some sort of like cochlear implant kind of like device instead of just headphones. But I don't think that's the case.
No, they're literally just...
So,
I think...
the most crystal clear jangling tune was sitar's, a high-pitched singer, a tabla drum, and a Chennai flute filled her ears. She stood, paced around the room, and listened to the words. The song is about forbidden love, right? She asked. Kamalini's eyes lit up. Yes, it is my mom singing. Another rarity. She acts, she directs her own films, and she sings her own songs. Most of our actresses lip sync. My mom's latest song is a hit in Chakra and will be the music for the big dance number in her next movie. But wait a second. You know my language? Oh, so she must be speaking in like English or whatever, like their common languages.
Right.
That's why she's being so... She's not using contractions. She's like, yes, it is my mom singing instead of like it's and like that is me instead of oh, that's me.
Oh.
So
okay,
I thought that was
good.
a neat thing. So that's a neat thing.
Good. You done right, Tyra. Or your editor, whoever made that arrangement happen.
And then we have Shiraz. Every language. She knows, Shiraz called matter-of-factly from across the room as she traced the lines of her face on her comforter. Magical, Tookie is. Oh, good, she's Yoda. Magical, Tookie is. Yeah, right, Tookie thought. Ha, did someone say magical? A voice rang through the room. That sounds like my cue. Zarpessa stood in the doorway, a disingenuous smile on her face. Well, a room for 4. I kind of figured we'd have our own rooms, but I guess I can live with this. No, Tookie thought. Please don't make her be our roommate. But when Tookie looked at the purple door again, Zarpessa's name had appeared. Oh, I called it!
You did! Yay!
Oh, prepare for all the conflict. No one spoke as she pranced across the room and plopped down on Tookie's bed. Oh, goodness, she said, running her hands over the outline of Tookie's face on the comforter. This reminds me of my face after the THBC makeup attack. Ugh, she growled, monster-like, and then slapped the drawing of Tookie's cheek. Guru Gnero, you in there? Suddenly, the Tookie drawing vanished, and a new face formed. Zarpesses. Now this is more like it. Zizi gazed at her caricature, which accentuated her dramatic eyebrows, full lips, and long, bone-straight hair. She grabbed the fabric of the comforter and ran it between two fingers. 2,500 thread count. My mother's brother's son's cousin's mentor is the manufacturer of these linens. You are all going to sleep like princesses in these. I've got them on my bed at home. Don't I, Tookie? No. Oh gosh, Tookie gets a nickname because her name's not already bad enough. I've got them on my bed at home. Don't I, Tutu? She whipped around and stared at Tookie, challenging her to say something.
I would.
Tookie stared at the marble floor. It is Tookie, Kamalini corrected Zizi. Whatever, Zarpesses said loftily. Head hanging, Tookie walked through the room, trying to feel for another bed. Finally, in the darkest corner of the room, she hit an invisible post. When the outline of the bed formed, it was smaller than the others, and the sheets were the teensiest bit scratchy. This bed's fine, she told herself. The pencil-lead sounds kicked in, and soon Tookie's image was staring back at her. No, that's just not fair.
Why are any of the beds different?
Yeah.
Why?
That doesn't make sense, because I know right now it's just trying to be like, oh, Tookie's the outcast. Oh, poor Tookie. She gets the worst... the worst thing.
All I had to do was just move her, and that was enough of a slap in the face. Like, she can't choose where, she can't stake claim,
right.
She can't stand her ground. Like, we get that. We don't need, like, oh, and the sheets weren't as nice, and it just wasn't as nice.
You're the Harry Potter of this world, so you just get shoved in, like, the closet under the stairs. So, what do you think of your room? Zen said, walking in. Incredible, right? Listen, she went on, you can only keep two things from home. The clothes you wore here are in those burlap sacks. Make your choices by tomorrow morning. Then she stepped back into the hall. And oh, one more thing. We tell time by color, not by number.
Why?
Look for the clocks around the land. You'll get the hang of them soon. Why?
Why?
Okay,
what purpose does this serve other than she's going to get some jokes in later?
Not only is this a problem for the characters, this is a problem for the readers if it's saying like, oh, be here at purple o'clock. What
purpose does this serve other than it's like, oh, Cookie Fantasyland? Tyra, you were doing so good world building like 3 paragraphs ago, and now you're like, yeah, we don't use numbers here because we can't math because we're models. So the only thing models understand are colors. So we're going to tell time by colors.
I hope that's not the case.
That's not what she means, but that's strongly how it comes across. If you're pretty, you're not smart. Don't you know that's the way this world works?
As soon as Zen departed, 4 nightstands appeared. Resting on them were soft, elaborate cotton nightgowns and Modelland monogrammed toiletry bags. A tag on the gown read, fashioned especially for you, based on the calculations from your THBC measurement section. The girls began removing their uniforms. Tookie changed into her nightie. It had an attached cape that hit halfway down her thighs. It fit around the shoulders, waist, and arms instead of gaping and pulling and pinching like all of Miracle's hand-me-ups. She pushed her feet into the Modelland slipper booties, happy they didn't cramp her toes. Only 2 things from home, Zarpesses said, pouting. That sucks. But for Tookie, it wasn't a hard choice at all. She reached for her burlap sack. Item number 1, T-mail jail, which she pulled from her cargo pants pocket and stashed in the top drawer of her nightstand.
I was pretty sure that wasn't number 1. But...
We'll see what number 2 is. Let's see. Next to her, she noted Shiraz stuffing a stiff piece of paper into her own drawer. Tookie knew what her item number 2 was to be too. She reached into the smaller pocket of her cargo pants and closed her fingers around the round dented button. T-O-O-K-E.
I knew it!
Just touching it made her feel better. She removed it from her pocket and held it in her palm. What's that beat-up thing? Tookie's head shut up. Zizi was staring at her. Tookie quickly closed her fist.
Nothing.
What was I thinking? I can't have this pin in plain sight.
Nothing.
Not in front of Theophilus' girlfriend.
Yeah, I just like to clutch this at night and pretend I'm making out with your man. It's fine.
Tookie knew the button was damaged and not easily recognizable, but she feared Zarpessa would be able to tell what it was. It's, she stammered. Huh? It's a what? Zizi made a face. Frantic, Tookie skidded around the room, looking for something to cover up the pin. Everyone stared at her, even Shiraz and Kamalini. Then Tookie turned to the hallway. Yes, she snagged a large thorny flower with long streamers and pointy tendrils from one of the art pieces and nervously fashioned the flower into an oversized corsage, which she pinned over the button. Because this isn't, like, uber suspicious either. Also, you're damaging the art. Don't do that.
I just don't get it. Like,
Tookie, you are just drawing way more attention to yourself. Be like,
yeah.
Look, I found this button. It spells my name. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
That's all she had to
all
say.
I had to say.
That's all she had to say.
Instead of running across the room like a maniac, grabbing a flower and trying to make like a little boutonniere for yourself, I guess.
The brooch was nearly the size of her head, and it looked as though it might lash out and bite off someone's arm. Wait, what?
God, this thing's like...
Yeah. But it covered up her secret Theophilus treasure.
Sure, it does.
I guess that's one way.
I would have wore the button, though. Just saying, I would have wore the button instead of the flower as large as my head.
As soon as Tookie returned to the bedroom, an announcement blared over a hidden loudspeaker. All Bellas must retire to their beds and rest up for the first day of classes tomorrow. It is now time for the Lumiere. Snap! The overhead bulbs went dark, but faint light from the crescent moon still shone through the window. Tookie fell into her small, scratchy bed. She felt a throb in her lower back, a kind of ache she'd never felt before. The dull pain traveled to her hips. She was so exhausted from the day, the tiniest muscles, even the ones around her eyes, ached. Okay. I bet she gets a period.
That's what I was going. This is awfully sudden, but alright. It's also something I don't want to, like, get super into with this character, but I'm feeling what's going on.
The room filled with the soft sounds of everyone pulling back covers and slipping under the sheets. Good night, Shiraz and Kamalini said sweetly. Zizi said nothing. Silence filled the room, and Tiki's mind started to wander and drift. Isn't that the same thing?
Yep. Just
as she was about to sink into sleep, a light popped on. What that? Shiraz sat straight up in bed. A spotlight shone on Zizi's face. Whenever Zizi moved, the light moved with her. Hide under the overpass, Zizi screamed, clearly half asleep. Tookie stifled a laugh. Maybe this is some kind of punishment. Wow.
Okay.
But then Zizi rubbed her eyes, seeming to awaken. She suddenly looked ecstatic. Oh my god, it's my Lumiere!
This is Lumiere. Enchanté, chérie.
Oh my god, all one word. Oh my god! Lumiere? Shiraz repeated. Zarpessa tilted her chin toward the light as though it were a sun lamp. The Lumiere is the special light that shines on Bellas at night. It's whatever their most flattering light is. Candlelight, sunlight, whatever. And look, mine is a spotlight. It means I'm going to be a superstar in Intoxibella. My pow pow powers are right around the corner. I'm going to be a quadruple 7, bigger than C tilde L. Suddenly, a warm reddish light snapped on over Kamalini's bed. Kamalini let out an irritated shriek and pulled the covers over her head. We cannot sleep with lights on, she wailed. We need darkness.
Yeah.
I'm with her, 100%.
If I'm tired enough, it doesn't matter how bright it is outside, I am out.
But Kamalini, Zarpessa said in a patronizing voice, it's an honor. The Lumiere is supposed to give you all kinds of restorative gifts throughout the night. Plus, it helps keep your skin fresh and dewy. And so does sleep, Kamalini protested. Down the hall, in all the other rooms, other girls were calling out as well. It's so bright. Mine's glow sticks. Are we really supposed to sleep with these lights on us all night? Tookie waited for her own light to shine, but the space above her bed remained dark. Then she cast her eyes to the right. There was another dark bed in the room. Shiraz's. Shiraz's bed creaked. She stood up on the mattress and inspected the ceiling. Is Lumiere supposed to happen to every girl here? Every model, Zizi corrected her. Shiraz glared at her. I'm model. I just as beauty as you. Maybe my light broken. It's not a matter of its being broken or not. Zarpessa settled onto her pillow like a princess, fanning her hair around her. It's more about the quality of the girl in the bed. Maybe some of you don't belong here. Maybe some of you are here for other reasons. Oh my, I've sacrificed so much beauty rest speaking to you all. Good night. In the dim Lumiere light, Tookie could see Shiraz opening her mouth. A small moan escaped it. Shiraz stared across the room to Tookie's dark bed and met her eyes. The sacrifices. That's ridiculous. Zizi's just trying to scare us. It's just a dumb rumor, Tookie thought. But when she closed her eyes again, she wasn't so sure. Darkness surrounded her. Cold marble pressed on the soles of her bare feet. A draft cut through her bedclothes and made her body shudder in one hard, painful wave. A faucet dripped close by. Papers rustled. Over her head, she could hear tiny footsteps. Mice? She blinked hard, but her eyes couldn't pull in more light. Where am I? Was it all a dream? Am I back home in Peppertown? Tookie spied a small window high over her head. The tips of the M building glowed not far away. She was still here, at Modelland, but she'd sleepwalked. This is definitely not the D. Tookie found a wall and felt her way around. Slowly, she rounded a dark corner and saw a few flickering candles through an opening. She hoped it was a passage that led back to the D. She had to get back to her bed. The Modelland staff and security probably didn't like night wanderers. She approached the door carefully and put her hand on the knob. Suddenly, a sharp sound made her stop. Whack! Whack! More whacks came, followed by simpers and the muddy sound of breathy, unintelligible words. Heart pounding, Tookie poked her head around the door frame. Inside was a cinder-block room that resembled a jail cell. A figure was on its knees, rocking back and forth and mumbling, "It's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault," over and over again.
Oh, jeez.
The person held a wooden plank in hand, and their back was bruised and bloody. The only item in the room was a picture pinned to the wall. Tookie squinted at it, recognizing the three pillars immediately. The obscure obelisk, the bizarre structures that had arisen in Ladorno seemingly overnight. More chants and deeper moans came from the figure. The deranged person raised the plank once more. "No," Tookie said silently. "What? So is she thinking it?"
I'm guessing she's maybe thinking
Then
it.
why is it's not in italics?
Unless it's like a soundless.
No, Tookie said silently. Who could do such a thing to themselves? Whack! A gash in the figure's back opened, and Tookie could see raw flesh. And still, Tookie stood paralyzed at the door. Whack! More flesh broke. What were once pinpricks of red now oozed blood from deeper cuts and gashes. Then the figure reached up to the obscure obelisk, its hands flailing as if the figure was blind and elderly and desperately trying to connect with an unseen face. Hands clawed at the photo, and the figure started to beat its forehead against it. Then came a wail so deep, so guttural, so agonizing. "Oh, sorry, sorry, so sorry, sorry." Tookie gasped, never having heard such a horrible sound. The figure in the room stiffened at the noise and raised its head. And suddenly, Tookie caught sight of who it was. It was a face she, and all the world, knew very, very well. C-L.
And then I see a bunch of black on this page, and I'm kind of scared of what I'm gonna have to read.
Have fun with the chapter title!
Just glancing at this other page, it uses like 3 or 4 new fonts. What's the point of that? I can't do anything with that. At least not with my voice. I'll try my best to make it interesting.
So that's like one of the times where it's nice to have like your physical copy of the book to read for stuff like that. But like it's not. I don't think it's even necessary. Is it just supposed to be?
It's just
handwritten.
Handwritten crap.
Oh dear Lord, the spelling.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. That's why I'm happy my chapter's a little bit shorter than yours.
Okay.
It might help a little bit. Chapter 19. Kara and the dormitory effect. Alright.
Is the dormitory effect just that everyone wants to, like, kill each other?
Probably.
Because they shoved, like, what?
A lot of girls in a very
one
small
place.
space? Yes. The next morning, when Tookie opened her eyes again, she was lying on her bed in the D, tucked safely underneath her covers. She rubbed her eyes, instantly remembering the night before. What had that been about? Had she seriously seen C. Tilda hurting herself? Why? Tookie was used to having awful nightmares and even night terrors when she woke up screaming, so she couldn't tell her friends what she'd seen. Not until she knew it was real. Disoriented, Tookie stumbled into the large, sterile-looking community bathroom. As she did, a dull pain shot through her legs, hips, and stomach. I feel like this is what we're headed for, folks. Did I just really get the fun?
You might have.
Okay. Just like prepping myself.
Why, Tyra? Why?
Prepping myself to give a bunch of people the birds and the bees talk. She doubled over, feeling as though she was about to vomit. Perfect, she thought. I'm sick on the first day of school. Probably not, unfortunately. Everyone in the bathroom wore clear shower sandals and aqua bathrobes with yellow arms and lapels that formed an M. The backs of their bathrobes sported immense eyes decorated with smizes. All at once, every single girl in the bathroom doubled...
Wait,
whoa, hang on a second. All at once, every single girl in the bathroom doubled over in pain, gripping her stomach and back just as Tookie had. As the bathroom stall door banged open, Tookie caught sight of a scrawled graffiti on the wall. Many of the drawings were just of Hart's initials, but several stood out. Lada Defecate 77 for sure, and Persecution, never forget, never return. So hang on a second.
Did you say that the whole back wall of their bathroom are eyes?
Their bathrobes have those eyes with smizes on them.
Okay, I thought you said like the bathroom, but okay.
The bathroom wall has graffiti on it, with hearts and initials, with
and then
like
does
stuff
that really say. Okay, so persecution. Never forget, never return. I bet that's what it's supposed to be. Yep. Okay. I'm less creeped out now that there's not like a bunch of eyes on the walls, but now there's eyes on like the back of their.
But now I'm kind of concerned that like all these girls are being forced to have their period suddenly because they're synced up or something.
I think that's what it's gonna be, so that like
so they're like all
in the same playing field and
all oddly like of age. They're all being forced to like hit puberty, and this is making me really uncomfortable if that's what this is. This is making me really uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable right now. Okay. She trudged up to one of the 25 sinks cut into a long slab of white and gray marble. Over each sink hung a white-framed rectangular mirror with different sized holes in it. One hole spat a perfect plume of cold blue water. Another shot out red-tinged hot water. A large hole emitted purplish-tinged water, a perfect combination of hot and cold, in case you couldn't, like, color math. Tookie spotted Piper at a corner sink and walked toward her, trying not to fall over from another sudden stomach spasm. Piper had laid out a series of toiletries, including a toothbrush, toothpaste, a hairbrush, and a comb in a neat, even line. When she bumped one out of place, she quickly pushed it back into position. She was also playing with a puzzle that had many moving pieces with scrambled parts of a picture. A golden light overhead danced on her delicate skin, enhancing the elegant angles of her chin and shoulders. Every movement Piper makes could be a beautiful picture, Tookie thought. She's posing, even though she doesn't realize it. Where'd you get all that stuff? Tookie asked. Piper looked up at her and smiled. This I brought from home. The tiles formed a picture of Piper's mother on a throne with a stately man standing next to her. Piper tried to hide the puzzle from Tookie, snapping the last tile into its proper place. The other stuff was on my nightstand. You didn't get a toiletries kit? Tookie blinked. It's back in my room. Do you mind if I borrow some paste?
You also need like a toothbrush then?
I was just gonna use the finger method, I guess. Sure, Piper said. Then she shoved the puzzle at Tookie, making sure to hold it upside down so Tookie couldn't see the picture. Would you mind messing this up for me first? Tookie stared at her. But you just solved it. Piper raised one shoulder. I know, but I'll solve it again. Playing with it keeps me sane. Good. Puzzles weren't Tookie's thing. It would probably take forever for her to figure this one out. But she'd heard this about people of Sans color. They were geniuses, adept at all subjects, masters of science, mathematics, music, and art. She took the puzzle and rearranged the pieces for Piper without looking at it. Who are you rooming with? She asked. Dylan and I are in with that strumpet Chase. Strumpet, yep. Piper rolled her eyes. And the Likey sisters. I believe Modelland is counting them as one. They're all sleeping squashed together in one bed.
The Likey sisters? Like
He likey, she likey, like whatever their names were. There's like 4 of them. Don't you remember that? They're like
I don't remember that there were that many.
There's like a whole bunch of them, like they likey, me likey, I likey, or something like that.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
What's the point?
It's
I
like
don't
he
know.
go, she go, they go.
Yep. At least it makes me laugh at how stupid it is, and it's not just stupid, it makes me shake my head. Weird, Tookie murmured. She opened her mouth to receive the water spout. Bright blue water sprang out, hitting her upper lip and her nostrils, sending shivers and cramps up her nearly bare back. What?
What?
I'm just so...
Did she open her mouth, did it say?
Yeah, she opened her mouth to receive the water spout to, like, rinse her mouth out.
Uh-huh.
Blue water sprang out. It hit her upper lip and her nostrils, at which sent shivers and cramps up her nearly bare back. But I thought they all had, like, robes and crap.
That's what I thought, too. What?
Moving on. You look freezing, Piper said. Didn't a roll appear in your closet this morning? She pointed at her own. Tookie lifted her right shoulder and raised her eyebrows. Then she grabbed Piper's toothpaste, dolled out a narrow strip on her left index finger, and started rubbing her teeth. Does that do much? Piper asked curiously. Better than nothing. Plus, I don't have time for a shower.
Didn't a toiletries bag already show up on her bed the nightstand the night before?
Yeah.
So it's okay, so wait, she said that was in her room. But so she obviously didn't look for the robe. Okay, just continue.
It's just like, I think she's like brushing her teeth / showering at the same time. I think she's showering and she grabs the toothpaste and she's brushing her teeth as she like spritzes.
Oh,
But she says, plus, I don't have time for a shower. I don't know what's going on. Piper looked closely at Tookie. I would recommend you not skip bathing today, Tookie. This is the 1 week where you want to be as spotlessly clean as possible. Tookie shut her eyes, wincing again with another pain. Piper, my back and tummy are killing me, she whispered. Piper shrugged. Join the club, Tookie. Every new Bella started menstruating at the exact same time this morning. Wait, what? You never heard of menstrual?
So dumb!
Menstrual synchrony or the dormitory effect? Okay, yes, this is a thing. This is a thing that can happen, but like it doesn't happen like that.
And it wouldn't be for every single person.
I know this is crazy fantasy land, but this doesn't serve
What is
a
this magic BS right here?
What is this? This is... Can you imagine being in an entire college dormitory and everyone's on their freaking period at the same time?
That would suck.
That would suck so much. Now everybody's extra cranky, extra grumpy. Everybody hurts everywhere.
Which is why they're cranky.
They all just want to take naps, and now it's their first day of school. Can you even begin to imagine?
That would be so awful. so bad.
Okay.
And poor Tookie just has no freaking clue.
You're welcome for getting the other chapter. Menstruosynchrony is a theory that suggests, it's not a theory if it's happening right now, honey, that suggests that the menstruation cycles of women who cohabitate, think army barracks, female penitentiaries, convents, and university dormitories, synchronize over time. Yes, over time. It usually takes months.
It's not going to be every single person.
It usually takes months for the alignment to occur, but here at Modelland, it seems to have happened in 24 hours.
Great.
But I've never gotten my period before this, Tookie whispered. Well, Tookie, looks like you're a woman now, Piper said. Tookie was about to protest. There was no way she was any more womanly today than she had been the day before. But all of a sudden, she felt that perhaps something in her had changed. Those abdominal pains made so much sense, after all. And that certainly made them more bearable. For once, she felt normal, like everyone else.
Why is this a part of the story?
Why is this necessary?
Why?
It just... I'm trying to think, like, from a younger me's perspective, would this have been intriguing? Probably. To some...
You have had some really out there, far out expectations for what the hell was going to happen in college then, of, like...
Yeah.
Everyone, like, syncing up. No, this is just weird. This is weird.
Weird and totally
doesn't necessarily
unnecessary.
seem like it needs a place in the book here.
Like, my only guess for why this would be is that so that they're all technically, like, womanly now for modeling and being sexy and stuff. But I don't think, like, having a period is, like, a qualifier for being pretty or, like, mature.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Because there's some people that start it, like, before they're 10.
Uh-huh.
So, like, yeah, you're right. That shouldn't be, like, a standard for this.
No. It just...
But, yeah, I bet you're probably right. That's probably what Tyra's getting at. So that when they have to do, if they have to do, like, sexy photo shoots or something, it's like, well, they're still, like, little. They're still young, which they are. They're, like, 15. Well, at least Tookie. She's, like, 15. There might be younger ones there, too, which...
If Tyra wanted to write to girls about the process of growing up, she should have wrote another book to talk to them about their bodies and not, like...
Not this. This is not the one to use. Right now, this has, like, no place in the book so far.
I'm just, like, I'm ready for, like, the bloodbath to commence. It's gonna be descriptive as all get out, I feel like. Let's see. Then, as she glanced down at the sink again, she noticed Piper's toothbrush. It was made of an iridescent pearl-like substance, and its bristles were fashioned in the shape of an eye. Just looking at the toothbrush made a memory strike her hard. She is uncoordinated, unattractive, and unmemorable. She's not mine, Creamy. Why is she remembering her dad looking at a toothbrush?
Hopefully it tells us.
The words were like daggers in her heart. She was allowed to keep only 2 personal items, but in reality had come to Modelland with heavy baggage she couldn't get rid of. Tookie moved her face closer to the mirror. As if knowing why she was doing so, the mirror inched closer to Tookie's searching face, kindly refraining from spouting any frigid or blazing water. Tookie stared deeply into her multicolored eyes, seeking a clue. She silently begged the mirror for some similarities, for any portion of her face to resemble her father. She took her baby fingers and traced the lines of her face, ending with the outline of her round, full lips. Nothing. She looked nothing like him. Hot tears fell from her eyes. She picked up a spare comb from the counter and ran its teeth through her hair. The comb snagged and then broke into 2 pieces, just like it always did.
I relate to this.
You relate to Tookie at this moment, huh?
At this one moment. I break a lot of hairbrushes. I think I'm at 7 now and a comb.
Oh, jeez.
It's like Princess Mia.
It is totally a Princess Mia thing. Moments later, Tookie ran out of the deed towards Beautification Boulevard. She was now dressed in the official first-year Bella green Modelland uniform she'd had on the day before when she'd emerged from THBC. Most of the uniform had been easy to put on correctly, and although wearing the leotard over her pants felt strange, it certainly was a cool look.
What?
You wouldn't usually wear pants, you'd wear leggings or tights.
Maybe that's what it means.
I think that's what she means, and she forgot what fashion words are. That or Tookie's just dumb. But Tookie didn't understand the Centura at all. It didn't fit the way it had the day before. It kept slipping off her hips. When she'd gone back to the bedroom from the bathroom, a bottle of perfume was on her nightstand. Poseur, said a sign on the plunger. When Tookie depressed the atomizer, a fine blood orange scented mist had spritzed into the air. Slowly, the mist had assembled into an onion skin thin sheet of paper. It was her schedule for the semester, or quadmester, as it was called in Modelland. She shuddered from another abdominal cramp. Maybe she's not going to go into as much detail, but I'm like, honey, you're going to want to go grab your products right now if you're feeling this way.
It's probably just going to turn into this, like, embarrassing scene in class.
Oh, man, I can't wait. She shuddered from another abdominal cramp, then looked at her schedule again. Bella assignments for this first day of the first quadmester of the first year. Uno, cara cara cara. Time, midnight blue. Sharp. Dos, runaway intensive. Time, Kelly green. Sharp. Trace. Mastication. Time, goldenrod. Sharp.
Is this a class on chewing?
Mastication.
Masticate. It's like to chew, right? Mm-hmm.
Maybe? Yeah.
I think that's
poor
right.
Tookie. Midnight blue, Kelly green, and goldenrod. Sharp. Tookie needed to learn how to tell time all over again. See, this is why
it is chewing.
Okay. How to chew?
Yeah, so they have a chewing class. Probably like
Why
it's
is
probably like an eating class,
Okay.
like how to eat properly and like act like a lady would be
What is
like
this?
etiquette.
It's weird.
Okay, so they can't tell time in numbers, but we're gonna name our class mastication. Whatever, go on.
Tookie stared at the whirling kaleidoscopic clock on Beautification Boulevard. All around her, girls were rushing past, just as confused as she was about the wacky colored clock. She tried going right, thinking cara cara cara, face face face, and Gaudian, thank you Tookie, might be in that direction, and found herself on a path she'd never traveled before. An enormous half-finished stadium loomed in the distance. Hulking male models from Testosterone worked giant construction machines. Some of them welded metal beams together with silver flashlight-like devices that shot red-hot liquid glue. Others struck overtly sexualized poses for a photographer while they worked. Suddenly, a deep voice rang out behind her. "Are you lost?" Tookie turned and saw a muscular I just can't get over... I can't with this word. Tookie turned and saw a muscular bestastero with chiseled features walking toward her, blueprints tucked under his arms. His pecs swelled under his shirt. His skin was smooth and richly colored, and his eyebrows looked naturally arched, which was almost as bad as if he'd been a religious waxer. Tookie had never been a fan of the pretty boy arched eyebrow look. Theophilus's unique features were more her taste. "My name's Bravo," he said, looking straight at Tookie. "From Testosterone. Are you a new Bella?" Tookie opened her mouth, but then shut it again. The guy was staring at her so pointedly, like she had worms crawling out of her hair. "We're building this new 7-7 stadium for you," Bravo went on, gesturing to the site. "A couple years ago, a huge fireball decimated the old stadium. It came out of nowhere, from the other side of the wall. Some people say the spirits over there get pissed at us sometimes and want to burn Modelland down." Tookie still couldn't say a word. Then two boys appeared behind Bravo. both in fashionable workmen's uniforms. One had pale skin, an angular face, and piercing hazel eyes, and the other was stockier, with dark skin and the fullest lips Tookie had ever seen, even fuller than her own. "What's that you're talking to, Bravo?" the angular-faced one said. The dark-skinned guy he was with snickered and nudged him. "Webb, you need to stop tripping, man," Bravo said. Tookie bristled and turned away. Webb's insult wasn't anything she wasn't used to. She glanced over her shoulder just once. Pretty boy Bravo was still watching her. Finally, he returned to his friends, and they retreated toward an immense eye made out of shiny metal. Its iris was constructed from green jade, and the lid wore a yellow eyeshadow like a smy's. Finally, Tookie found the Kara building. It was the massive boat she'd seen during orientation. A bridge made of driftwood led from shore to the vessel's door. That's safe. "Hey, Tookie!" Dylan stood in front of the building. Piper and Shiraz were standing with her, both bringing the same achy, period-stricken looks the other Bellas had had in the bathroom earlier. "We were looking for you, girl. You made it." Barely. Tookie almost considered telling them about the Bestastro and his rude friends, but she decided against it. Why bother? The girls walked across the bridge into the floating classroom. An immense bust of the belladonna leered from the ship's bow. "It's made of some element that doesn't exist in the periodic table," Piper whispered.
Okay.
Tookie shivered. She felt like the stony eyes were watching her. Would they ever see the belladonna for real, or only bizarre, rock-like representations of her? They ducked their heads through the entryway and entered a classroom whose ceiling and walls were made entirely of bleached bones in the shape of a giant skeleton. "What? Bones? Whose bones?" There's just this...
Like the models that have gone before that have like failed the test, or
Piper, I think, might explain it. Piper said, examining the interior. Dermal corset of flexible... I don't know big words. Collagenous.
collagenous.
Because
it's probably like collagen.
Yeah.
Collagenous?
Yeah. Collagenous fibers, hexagonal tesserae, oblique and serrated teeth not attached to the cranium. It's a shark.
Why are we killing all these sharks?
Why we got a bunch of dead things lying around?
That's a good point. But okay, this is like the opposite of what I pictured. Like this fancy, like fantasy, like Alice in Wonderland, like esque place, and now it's made of like shark bones. Wait, hang on, wait a second. I have this weird flashback to like bio in high school that says that sharks are all cartilage and not actually just like bone. Sharks do have skeletons, but they're made of cartilage rather than bone.
Yep.
Well, that's not what's making up the walls then. Unless, like, it's not actually, like, bone that they're seeing in the walls. Why do I remember this from bio?
God knew you needed this information at this moment in time to be able to correct Tyra. Or Piper, rather, the smart girl.
I mean, like, maybe that is a shark, but, because she does say it's, like, cartilage, but, like...
Moving on. There were no seats, but Zizi and Chase were standing front and center in the middle of circles on the floor with their names printed in the center. Tookie, Piper, Shiraz, and Dylan found circles of their own in the row behind Zizi and Chase. As soon as they stopped, individual spotlights shone straight into their faces. Piper squinted hard. "Is it Lumiere?" Shiraz exclaimed excitedly. Chase turned around. "Of course not, little girl. That only happens at night." Just then, a wooden door on the other side of the boat snapped open. In bounded a tall man wearing an embroidered cape and a red jumpsuit with a vibrant multicolored syrup sash around his waist. He had poochy lips, a button nose, bushy eyebrows, and twinkly, saucer-shaped eyes that immediately generated a smile from Tookie and all of the girls in the shark room. His features flapped and twisted as if they were made of something much more flexible than flesh and bone. But despite all that, Tookie thought he was quite handsome in his own special way. "What's up with Rubber Man?" Dylan whispered to the girls. "Oh, gravy. Why we gotta have stereotypes? Hola, hola, hola! I am Guru Pacifico Cruz from the land of Texcoco, he announced. At Modelland, we are not fans of last names, so please call me Guru Pacifico. This, my dear Bellas, is Cara class. Being a Madala Fantastica is all about mastering how to maneuver your face. And speaking of faces, this, of course, will prepare you for what you will face out in the real world, too, if you become Intoxibellas. If, ZZ rolled her eyes. Not if, honey. When. Mi clase, Guru Pacifico continued, is located within a great white shark, not for comedy, no. You sit within the belly of this sea beast to remind you of the real sharks in the world. They will swim around you if you become Intoxibellas. They will want to rip you to shreds, jealous of your fame and fortune. They will wait for you to bleed and then swallow you whole, leaving nothing to bury but your fancy stilettos. That's a good thing they're all on their periods right now. Tookie wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. Me reading this book. So my class is muy importante, Bellas. The Guru's eyes sparkled. It will tighten your guts, cement your resistance, and strengthen your core. If you've noticed, we are on a rocky boat. Metaphora intended. And your, shall I say, cycles have all been synchronized. I'm sure you have noticed by now. Crampy, see?
Why? Why are we calling attention to this? Why?
It better have plot importance. Groans sounded throughout the room. Tookie pressed on her abdomen. This is not a coincidence, Bellas. Usually it takes muchos meses, many months for lady cycles to, shall I say, organize. But organize, get it? Get it? Organize,
oh, I get it. I'm just not impressed.
That's what I've been most impressed by, honestly. Because it wasn't like capitalized or italicized. It just existed. It was like, let's see if anybody notices. But here at Modelland, we've accelerated that harmony. I knew it, Piper whispered to Tookie. Why do we do this? Well, Bellas, the life of a model is one of great adventure and many challenges. Modelland tolerates no excuses for tardiness or for faulty or missed assignments. Come hell or high agua, an Intoxibella must be ready to shine, to model through mayhem and mishaps, to perform, to be the very best. No excuses. So today your training begins. Hensio, your Tia Flow is happening right now, yes? How well can you project an image that is opposite of how you are feeling or at odds with your surroundings?
Okay, this doesn't explain why.
Here's
my thought, is that it's probably so that, first of all, they know, A, that when everyone's is, and that if someone comes in late and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just had a bad morning because of cramps, they can call you out your BS.
Could be.
Second of all, no one will be at a disadvantage for a particular, like, photo shoot or challenge. Maybe because they'll all just be miserable and they'll all just have to deal with it at the same time. But he didn't explain why.
Maybe he'll
Not
get better.
really.
He hasn't stopped talking yet. This is just a new paragraph.
Okay.
But I do enjoy speaking in his voice. Your goal in Kara is not to mirror, but to mask. In other words, make the opposite expression of what you see or feel. You see happy? The Guru made a gleeful expression, his rubbery lips extending well past his cheeks. You make sad.
Wait, what?
He's smiling so big it extends past his cheeks and his face.
Oh, he's like made of rubber, isn't he? Right?
Yeah.
So it's like just stretching.
Stretchy.
Oh gosh, that would be creepy.
You make sad. He distorted his face into a sappy appearance, his eyes drooping dramatically and his chin sinking literally into his neck. If you are tickled, do not laugh. Frown. Mastering this will get you one step closer to being an Intoxibella. Still next paragraph. But fail, and you may be relegated to spending your life as, heaven forbid, an actress. The guru said that last word in a low, disgusted whisper. Actresses are incapable of opposite performing. They must think about sad times in their lives to project sadness on the silver screen. Nonsense! You mustn't let the pitiful fate happen to you. Oh, and also, Bellas, you will see that mi clase is the best in all of Modelland. His face contorted. So if you like what you see here, put in a good word for me to the board. See? They need a bit of comic relief to join their ranks. They're so god-awful serious all the time. The guru's finger stretched out from his hand, curved around the girls, and flicked on a light at the back of the shark room.
What do they have against actresses?
That's just some really low shade Tyra's throwing out there.
On her America's Next Top Model, they make them do acting classes and act and tell them that they essentially have to be actresses.
Is an amazing actress. The top models in the world know how to act.
But here, she's like, nah, man, actresses, they suck. You don't want to be like them.
And, like, what's the shade that they're throwing out there about how, like, they can't, like, mask their emotions or whatnot? Excuse you. They're acting. It's like, they're acting, of course they have, like, control over, like, their emotions and portraying a specific emotion at specific times. I don't understand, but okay. Sorry, my rant is done.
In just a few seconds, you will be tested as you have never been. The challenge begins. Now. Pacifico untied the syrup sash from around his narrow waist, rolled it into a narrow strip, and tied it around his head, martial arts bandana style. Copy me, Bellas, copy me! The girls yanked their cinturas from their waists and tied them around their heads. As they did so, Tookie noticed that the boat was tilting more rapidly from side to side, like it was caught in a storm. She suddenly felt off kilter. Though your crampy pain and sickness from the sea, Pacifico said, your cinturas will aid you with power to conjure the opposite expression, perfectamente. A shark bite sound filled the room, and then a three-dimensional image of a two-headed vulture peeking at a child's eyes appeared before every Bella. Several girls gasped. Piper covered her eyes, saying it looked like Le Gizzard. Oh, like... Okay, that's what like gizzards look like, I guess.
I'm picturing lizards. Why are they like vultures?
Maybe gizzards like a bird's gizzard. A girl named Bo, who sat on the other side of Tookie and seemed devoid of any expression whatsoever, didn't react at all. No, 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 Pacifico bellowed. Opposite, opposite, opposite! Look at me! Zizi cried. She was smiling into the eyes of the two-headed vulture as though it was a cute newborn baby. Fantastico, Bella! Guru Pacifico patted Zepesa on the back. The boat rocked to the right, making Tookie's stomach swim. The two-headed vulture morphed into an enormous yellow feather that was as long as Tookie was tall. It flitted around the glass, tickling girls. Giggles erupted throughout the class. Bellas! Pacifico shook his finger. Use the power of your centuras to resist the urge to laugh. At once, the centuras came to life. The two strands that hung at the back of each girl's head reared up and swatted the feather as it approached.
No, that's not resisting being tickled or like not showing emotion. That's physically slapping away whatever's tickling you. That doesn't work if like I get what this exercise is trying to do and showing like you can't show like whatever emotion. You need to have like a masterful level of control over your own emotions so that you can portray whatever they need you to as you model. But like the tickling thing, that's probably to be like, so if you're wearing like a really like uncomfortable outfit that might be tickling you, you just don't show that you're being tickled. Yep. You can't just go and like slap it away with your scarf. That's not how this works.
This book isn't how anything works.
Why?
Shiraza's Centura swatted at the feather like a boxer hitting a speed bag. Piper's Centura took calculated jabs at it. Dylan's clawed at the feather like it was a girl in a cat fight. Chase Centura shimmied sexily, pulling the feather toward her body. But when the feather approached Tookie, Her cintura remained limp at her head. She couldn't stop giggling, even as the boat lurched angrily to the left. "Tookie," Guru Pacifico declared. "You are all wrong. Frown. Pretend that feather feels like the mehur pain inside you." Tookie's cheeks burned. All these years, she had never been called on in class, and now that she finally was, it was for something negative. Worse than that, her head was spinning. Why is this boat rocking so wildly? It seemed so calm from the shore. The challenges zipped by more quickly. They had to react to a steaming pile of rotting food under their noses, then a picture of an earless baby rabbit abandoned by its mother.
Aww.
Some girls instantly reacted to the photos before remembering they were supposed to do the opposite. But Piper studied the images quickly and smiled when the image was ghastly, looked surprised when the image was serene, and gasped when the image was gentle and sweet. "Good, Piper," Pacifico praised. An image appeared of a bunch of boys mooning a busy highway. Then one of a hooded figure that looked like death approaching. The Bellas changed their expressions from happy to sad, confused to angry, sexy to serious, with each different challenge. But Tookie continued to fail miserably, over or underreacting to the photos, finding it difficult to focus. Her cintura remained comatose on her head. "Tookie, Tookie, Tookie!
Tookie, Tookie.
Tookie, Tookie!"
Tookie!
Pacifico cried over and over again, which made Zizi twist around and smirk triumphantly at her. The only girl he corrected almost as much was dead-faced Bo, who didn't even freak over a photo of a dead cat giving birth to an octopus on an abandoned road.
What? That's a lot to pack into one picture.
Then an image of an acrobat falling off a dizzyingly high tightrope appeared. Almost everyone else reacted with an opposite expression. Boredom, apathy. But Tookie's face froze in the worst possible way. The performer reminded her of Chris Crumcrobat, her father, or, well, whoever he was. The shame of feeling disowned and unwanted washed over her. She couldn't hide it. The ship lurched to the side once more. Tookie's insides churned, and her lower back contracted in a sharp cramp. She gagged repeatedly and closed her eyes to avoid the next abominable image. But closing her eyes made her seasickness even worse. Suddenly, she couldn't take it anymore. She twisted to the right, leaned over, and threw up. Some of it landed in Bo's hair. But to her relief, Bo threw up too. Impassively, of course. "Dios mío!" Guru Pacifico cried. "The wretched scourge of the first-run regurgitators. Seen it before, and smelled it much longer." The images around them disappeared. "Okay, Bellas, remove your cinturas from your heads. You will do this again and again this quadrimester until you get it right. Do not fret about the mess. Remember, sharks love chum. As far as who did well today..." He paused on Piper, seemingly wanting to point to her, but then looked away. He pointed to another girl instead. "Definitely Bella Zizi." Zarpessa smiled devilishly. "Thanks, Guru, but I have a confession to make. My parents trained me for Modelland at a very early age. They got the best coaches. Metopia money was no object. I was being coached up until the day of discovery. They spent $50,000 on my prep, and..." She trailed off as she caught Tookie's eye. Her face hardened into a scowl. Tookie quickly averted her gaze. She didn't know whether to feel envious of or sorry for Zizi. Envious, of course, because Zizi had such a vivid imagination with which to escape from her dreadful life, even if it was a new concoction of outrageous fibs every day. But she felt pity as well. Guru Pacifico clapped. "Now that you have finished your first kara class, I have 2 gifts for you." Everyone froze, waiting. "I shall let an esteemed special guest tell you the first gift," the Guru said. He gestured to the wall of the boat. Instantly, they peeled apart, revealing the masthead of the Belladonna at the front of the ship. The masthead twisted around and stared at them, suddenly alive. The masthead belladonna parted her sculpted lips, just as her giant statue in the O had. Yes, Gnosis, I have a surprise for you, her voice rang out. Something young, maturing girls can only receive here at Modelland. Kara was your first class, or shall I say, your first period of the day. But guess what? It will also be your last. Huh? Chase pulled out her schedule. It says I have 2 more classes after this. The guru shook his finger. Not that kind of period, mommy. The belladonna continued. This cycle you had this morning will be the last period you will ever have for the rest of your lives.
Have they signed up for Did they know what they're signing up for?
I just don't. If we're gonna get rid of all periods, wouldn't it have been like even more compelling story where like Tookie's like, I never got my period, and everybody's like, oh shoot, I'm not getting mine. And it's just like, oh, we remove having that at Modelland because it causes issues. And then everybody was just on Tookie's level.
You know, it also would have been really funny then if you had a couple girls that panicked because they thought they were pregnant.
Yeah!
It would have been
It would have been so much better than this. But no.
So, they'll never be able to, like, have kids, right? Because they'll be ovulating.
Maybe they still ovulate and just don't have to deal with periods, which would be kind of freaking awesome, actually. Or maybe
this is weird magic.
Maybe they're just gonna hand them all birth control. Maybe that's what's gonna happen next. That could be a possibility too.
I bet that's not what's gonna happen, but that would make more sense.
There was silence, turned heads, questioning looks. We want no excuses for your missing class or shoots or shows. So Modelland is ridding you of the pain and suffering of your menstrual cycles and cramps forever.
Okay, you know what? That's all well and good, but you just have to kind of learn to grow a pair and deal with it.
You just learn to deal with it. The belladonna masthead explained. You will still have the ability to procreate as you reach adulthood, but no more periods. Period.
Well, that's really nice. Okay.
I mean, I might sign up for that, but the guru beamed at them. Isn't that grandissimo? Almost everyone cheered, although Chase looked strangely forlorn and confused, clamping her mouth shut and biting her bottom lip nervously. And Tookie felt another kind of cramp in her stomach, one of loss and regret. I finally reached womanhood, she thought. I finally got something that Miracle has teased me about so much, and now it's gone. Honey, you're not missing much.
You have no clue what you're asking to.
Fine.
Which one? Bet Chase just didn't have a period and is pregnant.
The masthead twisted back around to its original position and then went still again. The second gift, the guru said, facing the girls. Now you can view your pictures of today's session. Pictures? Dylan clutched her apple cheeks. But honey, I didn't even have my game face on. Pacifico smiled craftily, his rubbery lips curling over his teeth. This was your first Modelland photo shoot, ladies. Go look, go look. The guru pointed at the exit at the far side of the shark. A second boat had appeared where the bridge had once been. As soon as the girls stepped inside the cabin, the boat moved away from the dock and began to float down the long river. Then 3-dimensional images of the Bellas during the Kara class exercise appeared in midair. The images moved and morphed, showing each of their many expressions. Oh! Some girls squeaked. Yuck! Others cried. Can I erase this one? Bo murmured stoically. Oh, can I erase this one? Bo murmured stoically. And Chase batted her eyelashes at herself. Honey, she said to her image, if I were a guy, I'd want a piece of you. Look at that hideous thing, a voice called from the other side of the boat. It was Zizi, and she was staring at Tookie's repeating loop.
Of course she was.
Zizi nudged Chase. You know those rumors about scouts choosing civilian girls to come to Modelland to be used as sacrifices, experiments, and food? I certainly wouldn't want to eat that. Tookie moved to the front of the boat to look at her images. In each, she looked awkward, confused, and just wrong. She looked over at the guru. His eyes narrowed and he shook his head slowly from side to side. These were the type of photos that would fail her. The type of photos that would get her kicked out of Modelland and sent back to Peppertown forever. She closed her eyes and thought about the fate that awaited her in Peppertown. A family who didn't want her. A best friend who probably hated her now that she'd abandoned her. A life as a factory dependent. I can't go back there. I can't get sent home. But then she thought about the sacrifice rumor. Torturing girls in dreadful experiments. Siphoning their blood for ancient ritual. Making an offering to whatever magical beings had founded Modelland in the first place. If that was in store for her, she couldn't imagine staying here either. Cold fear trickled down her neck. Had she come this far, only to be a human guinea pig? And that's the end of chapter 19.
Fun.
I'm glad we're done with period talks.
Thank God.
It only took us 232
No,
pages.
we're probably gonna get more on the next chapter because Tookie's gonna whine about it.
I'm done with that shenanigan. Just don't want to touch it anymore.
Yep, just kind of set it there. Just leave it.
I put it to bed for the night. Awful. So yeah, that was
this book. Just
fun.
why?
With that, I think we've said enough on all of our thoughts and opinions. So make sure you let us know down in the comments below what you think of these last couple chapters. And if you're liking what you see so far, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you can keep updated on every Modelland we post. As our lives have continued to snowball into being super busy, it's gonna kind of just happen when it happens at this point. But they take a long time to edit, and we want to create some fun edits.
Yep.
Some unique things, so there'll be a little space in between. But anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening, and hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Bye!